Nancy Guthrie was reported missing Sunday afternoon in Arizona, and it is believed she was taken against her will.
What you're about to hear was never supposed to reach the public. The FBI interrogation of Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law was sealed inside a federal case file, classified, buried, and now it's allegedly been leaked. 6 hours of footage from inside a windowless room where a man in pajamas, dragged from his bed by a SWAT team at 5:30 in the morning, sat across from two agents who already had everything they needed to destroy him. For the first 90 minutes, he performs the role of the grieving, confused family member so convincingly that you'd almost believe him. Almost. Then Special Agent Russell Dante reaches for a laptop, presses play on a traced phone call from 2:47 in the morning, and the act dies in 4 seconds flat. What comes out of that speaker is the son-in-law's own voice, discussing details about Nancy's kidnapping that only the person who planned it would ever know. And that phone call wasn't even the most damaging thing in the room. The Raptamabai. Footage reportedly opens cold. Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law is being walked into a stark FBI interview room, still wearing what he had on when agents put a battering ram through his front door an hour earlier. Already performing. Already projecting theatrical confusion, blinking under fluorescent lights like a man who couldn't possibly fathom why he's here. Two agents sit across from him. Lead interrogator, Special Agent Russell Dante, a 23-year veteran out of the FBI's Violent Crimes Division, known internally for breaking suspects who believe they're the smartest person in the room. His partner, a younger agent who barely speaks for the next 6 hours, but whose pen never stops moving. Here's the catch. Agent Dante reads the Miranda warnings, and the son-in-law waves them off like an inconvenience. Declines an attorney with the casual arrogance of a man who's decided he's going to outmaneuver 2 federal investigators and walk out before lunch. That decision, made in less than 3 seconds, destroyed his life. His opening performance is polished, says he has no idea why he's there, would never hurt Nancy, loves her like his own mother. When agents ask him to walk through the evening Nancy disappeared, he delivers his story with the consistency that only comes from repetition. Nancy came for dinner, they played card games, he drove her home around 9:45, describes how she laughed telling a story about her late husband during dessert. Remember that, because the last evening Nancy Guthrie spent as a free woman ended with her laughing at her own dinner table, surrounded by family she trusted completely, including the man sitting across from Dante right now. And get this, for 90 full minutes, total composure. He even asked the agents how the investigation was going. Agent Dante let him talk, let him grow confident, because Dante wasn't gathering information. He was building a runway, giving this man every opportunity to lock himself into a story that was about to be demolished. The phone call, 90 minutes in. The son-in-law is leaning back, almost relaxed. Dante signals his partner without breaking eye contact. A laptop and audio equipment appear on the table. Dante's warmth drains from his voice entirely. 7 words. I want you to listen very carefully. Mild curiosity from the son-in-law. A flicker of amusement. That lasted exactly as long as it took for the speakers to fill that room with his own voice. The recording is reportedly a traced call from a burner phone to his personal cell at 2:47 in the morning. A conversation discussing Nancy's deteriorating condition, the failed ransom plan, what to do now. His voice isn't ambiguous. He's discussing logistics only someone running the operation would know. Now, pay attention to this. The physical transformation is something you can never unsee. Color drains from his face in real time. Hands that were steady for an hour start trembling so violently the camera picks it up from 6 feet away. His body recoils, the confident lean replaced by a man trying to disappear into his chair. The recording ends. Silence swallows the room. 3 seconds, 5, 7. Nobody moves. The younger agent's pen hovers motionless for the first time. Dante lets the silence press down like a physical weight, like the walls are closing in 1 inch at a time. Then, devastating simplicity. That's your voice, isn't it? He tries denial, voice cracking, claims he doesn't know what it is. Dante plays it again, pausing at specific moments, isolating statements proving coordination. Each pause surgical. The son-in-law pivots. Business matters, a personal situation with his cousin Marcus. Anything other than what the recording captured. Dante lets that explanation hang just long enough to make him think it might work, then nods toward the folder. If you're already locked in, subscribe right now. Because what agents pulled from that folder made the phone call look like a warm-up. The text messages. The second agent drops a thick folder on the table, printed copies of every text between the son-in-law's phone and Marcus's phone, spanning 3 weeks before Nancy disappeared through the night she was taken. Dante reads them aloud, sliding each page across the table. Messages about which night works best, Nancy's predictable routine, instructions for disabling the doorbell camera, which entry point to use, when she'd be most vulnerable after taking her sleeping pills. But here's the deal. These aren't vague messages. They reference Nancy's specific routine, her home layout, her medication schedule, the woman who laughed at dinner, reduced to a target profile in his own texts. He claims his phone was hacked. Cell tower records placed it at his verified locations when each message was sent. He claims Marcus fabricated them. FBI digital forensics specialist Agent Teresa Molinari reportedly ran independent verification across 4 sources: Marcus's phone, the carrier's servers, the son-in-law's device, and cloud backups, all authentic, completely unaltered. Molinari reportedly told colleagues she'd never seen a suspect leave a more complete trail, and the text messages weren't the worst of it. What agents found on his laptop made everything look like prologue. The laptop. This is where everything falls apart. Despite running a data wiping program 3 days before his arrest, FBI specialists reportedly recovered everything. Dante reads the searches aloud. How to kidnap someone without leaving evidence. Anonymous Bitcoin ransom payments. How long elderly individuals survive without prescribed medications. The same medications Nancy needed every night for her heart. Methods for disposing of remains. Sentencing comparisons for kidnapping versus murder. And the most chilling entry, 72 hours before Nancy disappeared. Whether accomplices receive lesser sentences if the victim dies during captivity. He wasn't planning a kidnapping. He was planning for the possibility that Nancy wouldn't survive. His defense, researching a crime novel, no manuscript on the laptop, no notes, no outlines, nothing. He finally invoked his Fifth Amendment right. Too late. 3 hours of recorded lies were already on camera. But the evidence wasn't done. What agents revealed about his finances explained why he was desperate enough to do this. Following the money, the FBI financial crimes analyst, Supervisory Special Agent Derek Okafor reportedly laid out the numbers. Total collapse. Checking account overdrawn. Credit cards maxed. Mortgage in default with foreclosure in 60 days. Debts exceeding $250,000. Then $30,000 in unexplained cash withdrawals in the 3 weeks before Nancy vanished. Business expenses, then home repairs, then a blank stare. Now pay attention. Nancy's will split her multi-million-dollar estate equally between her daughters. If Nancy died before changing it, Annie inherits roughly $2 million, marital property shared with her husband. Every debt erased overnight. But Nancy had scheduled an appointment to revise that will, dramatically reducing Annie's share. Days away. The son-in-law knew. He'd overheard Nancy discussing it at the same dinner where she laughed about her late husband, the same dinner where she carried those grandchildren photos in her purse, the same dinner where she trusted him to drive her home. He wasn't just broke. He was watching a $2 million lifeline disappear while an 84-year-old woman who needed heart medication every day was the only thing between him and salvation. The breaking point, 4.5 hours in. A man physically unraveling. Dante shifts tactics, becomes the understanding ally. Maybe things spiraled. Maybe he just wanted to scare Nancy into reconsidering. Then Dante drops his voice. Nancy is 84. She doesn't have her heart medication. She has a framed photo of her grandchildren in her purse. She's alone. The son-in-law's eyes fill with tears for the first time. Then, the first real admission. He gave Marcus $20,000. That contradicted everything. The financial link between orchestrator and accomplice, in his own words. And this is the part nobody was ready for. He pivots to blaming Marcus. Independent action, information overheard at family dinners. Dante lets him build the narrative. Then one sentence. We have Marcus in the next room, and he's telling us something very different. Senior Special Agent Paul Vasquez, who reportedly led Marcus's parallel interrogation, confirmed Marcus began cooperating within hours. The restaurant where they planned it, the parking lot where cash changed hands, Nancy's sleeping pill schedule. Information Marcus couldn't possibly know unless the son-in-law told him directly. Cornered, he tries one final move. The discussions were hypothetical. Dante pointed to the 2:47 call. A man surprised by a crime doesn't receive calls discussing the victim's condition, doesn't talk logistics, doesn't ask what to do with an 84-year-old woman running out of time. 6 hours. That's how long it took for a man who believed he was the smartest person in that room to completely unravel, every lie cataloged, every pivot documented. And somewhere down the hallway, Marcus was filling in every gap. In the final minutes, the son-in-law breaks down completely, sobbing, head in hands. Every word about himself, his career, his marriage, his future. And the most disturbing part of this entire interrogation, across 6 hours and dozens of opportunities, he never once expressed genuine concern for Nancy. Not once. Every tear was for himself. The 84-year-old woman who carried photos of her grandchildren in her purse and laughed at her own dinner table the night she was taken. She was never more than a dollar sign to him. What Marcus told agents about those first 48 hours after Nancy was taken reportedly left, hardened investigators unable to speak. Subscribe now and hit that notification bell because that breakdown is next. Drop a comment and tell me, do you think Nancy Guthrie was still alive when they finally found her?